Welcome to Nonsense Season 3, Episode 14, our big story. I'm Jeff Parker.
I'm Little.
This time we're looking at various ways we've been buying things as consumers over the years, some that you may remember and some that may surprise you.
I don't buy things.
Coins, commerce, and carts, the history of shopping, up next.
Coins, commerce, carts, and parts. That's what we need. The CCCP.
What are the top 3 places that you buy stuff from?
The top 3 places I buy stuff from? What do you mean?
Top 3.
Like by volume, by number of transactions, by dollar amount? What are you talking about?
I don't care. Just any of those. Pick one.
I just want to be done with this goddamn show. The 3 top places. This is like the easiest question you've ever asked me.
Okay, good.
Costco.
Yeah.
Because I like to buy everything by the metric ton.
Yeah, sure.
And my kids will eat it. So a lot of stuff from Costco. Target. I'd say Target probably fills in the gaps because some things either Costco doesn't sell or I don't want to buy 12 pounds of.
Sure.
So that's where Target comes in. And Target bought Shipt before the pandemic. Shipt with a P.
Yeah.
They were the delivery service that sold
Sure.
to Target probably a year too early because when the pandemic hit, they would have been worth 10x. But
Sure.
neither here nor there.
You don't know. You
don't know. Exactly. You don't know. And then I'd say I round everything out with Amazon. I mean, Amazon is the go-to bazaar store for all the things that I need.
You go from a Costco, which has a very limited number
Yes.
of items.
Yes.
Very limited.
Yes.
To Target, which has a few more, but you
Yeah.
don't have to buy in quite the volume.
Yeah.
All the way to Amazon, where you have basically unlimited
Yes.
shelf space.
And that whole time you were just sliding down the quality slide.
Oh, you think?
Yes, absolutely. Costco, you're never going to get anything bad.
Yeah.
You might get something that's okay, but everything's going to be better than okay or great.
They've curated things very, very carefully because they have very few items.
Very well. I feel very similar about Target. Like Target, there's really no garbage in Target. Like everything in Target is going to be mediocre or better. And then I get to Amazon and I am fucking shocked when I can find a product that's at least mediocre.
Really?
I feel like so much stuff I buy is just trash, just utter garbage and trash.
I have better luck with Amazon, but probably because I'm buying things that I know what they are.
Yeah, if you're buying something you know and that you know the buyer you're buying it from, so you're not getting some shill that's selling counterfeit whatever, great. But like even fucking tape, I just tried to buy flex foil tape. This is just a therapy session for me now. Just like flexible duck foil tape. I want a specific one. And I'm looking at the pictures. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that is not legit. This is some fun time flex tape seller in fucking Kansas. And I'm like, no, I'm going to go to Home Depot where I know the source is likely not getting fucked with.
And you can see it and you can touch it and you can feel it. That's a big advantage that the actual retailer has.
Yeah. Oh, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. I had Home Depot deliver it to me. I didn't actually go there.
Did you? You have all the problems of Amazon except you have the limited selection of Home Depot. That's great.
Yeah, I have the limited selection and the raised price of Home Depot.
Oh, that's funny.
But it got here in 4 hours and I knew the shelf that it came off of and it was good. That literally happened earlier this week. I'm not making that up. So
somebody's installing a house fan.
Somebody's installing a lot of shit because right now it's not 1,000 degrees in Southern California. Yeah. So I'm trying to get all of my attic work done. And I don't even know why I'm doing this myself, but I tell myself I enjoy it. So here we are.
The great thing about Amazon is you can return things really easily if it's not the quality you want.
You can, with one exception. After the fire, I bought a bunch of the 3M half face masks.
Yeah.
I didn't know what size fit my kids, so I bought a bunch of random sizes for them. Test fit them. Okay, cool. Want to take them back, and they're like, you can't return these items. And I was like, God damn it. It said right there.
Oh, yeah.
I just didn't, because some items you can't return, and they didn't make that clear. So now I have all the masks.
I am not a regular Whole Foods shopper. I very rarely go, I got to go to Whole Foods and get this or that.
Yeah.
However, because on occasion I am returning items to Amazon.
Totally works.
And Whole Foods has a great return desk. It pulls me into the store while I'm here. Oh, yeah, I'm going to get the blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Because I'm here.
Yeah.
It's a really great draw.
The Amazon Fresh by us, the return there has definitely made me more of an Amazon Fresh shopper. It definitely got me to experience the store more. And while I totally missed the Amazon Eye in the Sky automatic pricing thing, they took that out a couple months ago, but it's just as good now. DashCart's fine. Yeah. Totally works. Anyways, okay, so how about you? Is Whole Foods one of your top 3 stores?
No, I nearly never shop at Whole Foods. I love shopping at Trader Joe's, though.
Okay.
And there's no online presence for Trader Joe's. So you pretty much have to go to the physical store.
Yeah. Trader Joe's, okay, that's a good choice. That's one of the cult stores. It's like AliExpress. Like once you're in the cult, you never get out.
Yeah, I'm in the AliExpress cult. I'm in the Amazon cult.
Yep. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
It's my fault.
Specialty stores. There are stores that I buy things from that I can't get any place else. Part of my dog's dog food. Now, it's not everything that he eats.
Sure.
But part of what he eats comes from a specialty store called Sundays.
The frozen duck heads?
No, I don't do any of that. Some of the stuff you just can't get any other way. I searched the world over for a wallet, and I found a guy who handcrafts leather goods. And oh my God, I just love this wallet. It's great.
Okay.
I'm sure he could have shown his wallets on Etsy and probably gotten way more traffic or whatever. But for whatever reason, he didn't.
Yep.
And I found him, and I'm thrilled. So yeah, I buy a lot of specialty things.
Okay. Well, I accept that. I'm just amazed you ever leave your house.
That's so funny because my wife says I'm never home.
Whenever she's looking for something.
Yeah.
Where is Jeff? Oh, I'm recording remote. Gotta go. Got a thing.
Well, let's go. Let's talk about shopping. Come on.
I'm in. I do not think of myself as someone who likes shopping. I never have classically.
I hate shopping. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
As a kid, whenever my mom would want to go shopping, I would like go hide. I hated it.
Yeah, I wasn't that opposed to it, but it wasn't like if I had nothing to do, shopping was never on the list of something that I would put in there. It wasn't like I'm going to go walk around the mall or something. Now, there is one exception. You and I, if you and I were together and bored, we would just somehow gravitate to either like a Fry's Electronics or a Home Depot.
Sure.
And just walk around Home Depot and just be like, look at that. It's $12 a foot for fucking wall tile. We can put that on the floor. What could possibly go wrong? Just grease that up and see what happens.
And just be perfectly entertained doing both of those things. Sure.
I'm perfectly entertained walking around Home Depot because I can always find something there that, one, I didn't know existed, and that, two, I then must have as soon as I've discovered it. So that's always a fun process for me.
The discovery is great. That is one thing about retail presences that you can actually walk. Although I've been doing a lot of discovery on AliExpress too.
But it's different.
But it's totally different.
It's not better,
totally
it's not worse, it's just different. It's just legitimately different.
Sure.
Because you have all of the things, but like also, I don't know if you have this experience yet. You're still like an AliExpress noob. But I have ordered things before where I've kind of half paid attention. I've paid attention to the specifics, but I haven't paid attention to things that are, I think somewhat important, like dimensions. And you have in your head the idea that like you just bought like a fan. You're like, I'm going to cool my whole house with this fan. And then it shows up and it's like 3 inches in diameter. And you're like, fucking Christ, really?
The Spinal Tap error.
Well, it's like, exactly. But you're off by like a whole order of magnitude. Like, not like it's not going to fit in the hole. Just like, no, I need 120 of these to make the thing that I thought I was getting. Like, completely off. And that always amuses me. So I'm better about that now. But like every now and again, I'll just order a thing. It'll be like a magnet. And I'll just be like, oh, these are magnets. It'll be fine. They get here and they're like, either a third of the size or 30 times the size I expected.
And it's not easy. AliExpress, basically, you're not returning the item.
No, there's no returning.
It's too hard.
There's no returning. There's no.
Yeah. Unlike Amazon, who makes it so easy. I can order, if I'm not sure exactly the thing that I want, I can order 5 of them.
Yes.
And I can take 4 of them back if I have to.
AliExpress's return policy is that you're paying 15% of the market cost for it, the street price.
Yeah.
You're paying 50%. So your return policy is just a trash can. Like, that's just it. That's just where it goes, which I hate. I don't like that bit of the consumerism, but I do have this will not shock you. I do have one of those black, like, Costco storage bins that on the says parts bin, and anything that I've either taken apart or no longer want just goes in there. Whenever I got to build something, I just open that up and dump it out. And I've got all sorts of shit. Oh, yeah.
What do we got here?
And capacitors in there, bits of plastic, screws, all sorts of shit. Just random shit in the box.
All right, let's go back to the beginnings of shopping, modern shopping as we know it. Now, not to forget trading gold and silver and chickens, barter, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Come forward a few more years.
Okay.
Start with, let's say, the beginning of technology affecting shopping.
Yeah.
The Sears catalog has to be one of the first items where you had a printing press. You had a printing press for a couple of years. You had to,
couple of years, that's an understatement.
Get a quantity of printing presses.
Yes.
And you got the Sears catalog. The Sears catalog was wonderful.
That was one of the first things. I think the initial one was called the Sears Catalog King James Edition, I think is what they called it. I think that was the first one. I'm not sure how, if you want to go all the way back, but that's what Gutenberg saw. He saw the ability to get out the Bible and the catalog to buy shit and tools.
Thou with chainsaw, half off.
Yes, exactly. Yes, that's exactly. I think that was the 12th commandment. No, I think that is a great point, because before that it was all person to person, right? You had like whatever the open market air bazaars and whatnot,
which is the predecessor of the modern day shopping mall.
Yeah,
you had some place and everybody would bring their carts full of goods.
The Roman
and it was all the different.
Yep.
Yeah, it was like a farmer's market almost.
Yep.
I walk into a shopping mall now, and I think the exact same thing is this is just the advanced version of all those carts. It's just got nicer flooring.
Yeah, but it still smells the same.
Sure,
it has a very similar odor. Although I got to say, man, I was just at the Westfield in Century City. Holy shit, that place is nice.
It's really nice. It's really
nice. By the way, nice.
Modern day shopping malls have kind of mostly turned into collections of restaurants, at least for me.
Yeah.
The stores are like ancillary.
The stores sort of just fill your time while you're waddling from one restaurant to the other.
I'm not even sure there are many anchors in the traditional sense. The anchors now are Eataly. The anchors are restaurants.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Eataly becomes the anchor. That's such a great point.
Back to the Sears catalog.
Yeah, so as you're crossing over from the, like what Jeff is describing, the open air markets, the forums, like this sort of like direct person to person coming to, not just to barter, they were still selling things, but that Sears catalog, so this is like late 1800s, right? So end of the 19th century, 1890, something like that?
1890, yeah.
Now you started to see using not just the technology of the printing press, but also just distribution. I think they mailed that catalog, right? You could actually get the catalog in the mail.
Yeah.
That didn't really exist much, maybe let's say 100 years before that. You didn't have a mechanism that you could get these things out cost effectively. Certainly not in the 1700s, early 1800s. You had no ability to send these things around.
Right.
So that's where Sears Roebuck came from. And they didn't open, I don't think they opened a store for like 30 years. I think 1920s, mid-20s.
They were all catalog. And they were in the middle of the country. They were in Chicago, so they could ship to, whatever sides of the country easily.
That was like at the time, I think you bought most of your stuff from like these mom and pop general stores, right? You bought like your consumables and things. Did you even have specialty stores then? I'm not even sure specialty stores existed.
Specialty retail came around. This is my recollection of it, which might be flawed, but I believe it came around with a guy named Les Wexner.
Okay.
Who's still alive, by the way.
Really?
His parents had a general store.
Okay.
And he worked as a kid in his parents' general store.
Okay.
And it drove him crazy that they had all these items, some of which were kind of low margin items, but it was things you had to have in your general store because people needed you to supply those items. People needed those items. He came up with the store, what I think is the beginning of specialty retail, the Limited.
Oh, okay.
It was not the general store, it was the Limited.
This is like 1960s-ish? 70s?
Yeah, probably. I mean,
Interesting.
When specialty retailing started to exist, the Gap, the Fisher family came up with they called it the Generation Gap in the 60s, but it was specialty clothing. Yeah.
So this is a similar time to when we started getting like the big box stores, right? Like the Walmarts of the world. Wasn't Sam Walton like late 50s, early 60s?
Yeah, late 50s, probably, sure.
And that was let's bring the warehouse experience, the sort of wholesale
scale
warehouse experience and scale, to the end customer. I don't think that didn't really exist before.
But a lot of times in Walmarts, it was let's go to cities where they don't have necessarily a big set of department stores.
Yeah.
And we can be in that second level, not the cities that have the big department stores, but the cities that sort of like Harbor Freight.
Yeah.
If you didn't have a Home Depot, you might have a Harbor Freight because they knew that's where they could go.
Yeah. Or also if you're in like a smaller town, didn't have like a landfill, you would have a Harbor Freight. So it's another place you could just go to buy garbage because if you didn't want to go all the way to the dump. Okay. Yeah. I say that in jest because it would be a lie for me to tell you that my garage isn't half full of Harbor Freight shit, especially one-off tools. If you just think of everything there as single-time use, you're always happy.
Sure.
But I also, the joke I always make when I'm there is people are like, oh, it's got a lifetime warranty. And I'm like, that lifetime is about a week long. That's literally the lifetime. You got to be clear in the fine print.
But Eric started Harbor Freight as a mail order business. It started as a mail order business.
And filled a real gap because at the time, if you wanted to buy tools in person in the US, I think Sears was like really your only option.
Right.
You had Sears and then you had like, I think the Snap-on trucks were just coming around, but that was only for professionals and like the truck had to go to you. Like you didn't have a place to go. Yes, I make fun of Harbor Freight, but I'm there at least once a month buying something I don't need for, $12. I'm like, of course I need a fucking sandblaster. Of course. How can you live without one?
Harbor Freight is kind of interesting because it sort of follows the Toyota production system.
Oh, interesting. For product production?
Basically, you produce the products that you're going to put into your catalog right as you're going to put them into your catalog. So you don't have a mass inventory sitting around.
Yeah.
You are selling the things that came in to you today.
Well, that's the brilliance of Costco, which we mentioned earlier, right? Is Costco, I didn't know this until recently, because they're buying by the pallet. They're basically selling to you by the pallet, but since they're buying by the pallet, and most places give them 30 days, they're never actually sitting on product that they've paid for because they put it right on the floor on the pallet. The manufacturers aren't shipping to Costco Central Warehouse. They're shipping to a Costco store. They put the product on the floor. It's gone within 30 days. I think the average turn is like 20, 22 days, something like that. The shit's gone.
I would bet a lot of money they do not buy by the pallet.
Oh, they're buying by more than the pallet. They're buying by the truck
container
loader.
car.
Yeah,
of course. They're buying by the container car. Yeah.
But I think the unit that gets delivered to the store, they're not splitting pallets. You're not getting like
never.
a half a pallet of garbage bags and a half a pallet of Ziploc bags.
Right.
You're getting at least one pallet of Ziploc bags to the store.
Yeah.
They just drop that thing on the floor. People rip through it and it's gone in like 20 something days. They haven't even paid for the goods yet.
Look above you on the shelving. There's probably 12 more pallets just like the one you're digging into.
Look above you on the pallets on the shelves and then remember that you live in a seismically active area called Southern California and then try not to hyperventilate. Like that's what I do. And Costco scares me less. It's when I'm at fucking Home Depot and I'm just like, oh, that's just bricks. That's just a pallet of bricks that's going to fall on me and kill me when this earthquake happens.
I would be surprised if Costco doesn't have a pallet that doesn't turn in less than 4 days. I think that stuff all turns really fast.
I'm almost certain they have stuff that takes longer than 4 days. But
the jewelry and some of those things maybe take a little longer, but man, they turn their merch so fast.
Yeah, they'll have like tents or something that'll be seasonal.
Okay.
You know, like, but I think the vast majority, yes, it turns very quickly. It is incredible to see. They'll take like plastic wrap off in the morning and by midday, half the beer is gone. And I'm just like, wow, that went quick.
Yeah.
It went super quick.
They're experts at merchandise velocity.
But what's incredible, and I just don't think I articulated it well, is they're never sitting on product that they've paid for.
Yeah.
They literally are being like funded by the manufacturer because they pay for the product after they've sold it all. There's really no other model that's just like that, not at that scale.
Yeah.
Costco is another sort of very specialty version of one of these big box stores.
Big box, sure.
Yeah.
IKEA as well.
Oh, IKEA.
IKEA started out as a mail order catalog.
Yes.
The interesting thing about his mail order catalog, he had a catalog and he went to furniture makers and had them literally make the furniture that he was putting into his catalog. He was going to then put in. He never took delivery of it. There was no warehouse. And they shipped direct, which was kind of ingenious. Later, they figured out, let's get this shipping thing worked out. Let's get the smallest possible package that we can fit these things in.
Flat, stackable. Yep. Yeah. The birth of the flat pack. As an engineer, it's hard to look at a flat pack and not just see art.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like the whole thing just comes out as art.
You thought more about packing this than the actual item that you're selling, or at least you thought as much.
Yeah, the item's almost secondary.
About packing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Okay. I got one more here.
Yeah, sure.
The cable companies came along.
Yes.
And suddenly, instead of having 3 or 4 channels, you had 909 possible channels.
Straight to Skinamax. Channel 14. Just watch the squiggly lines. If you can move your head at the same frequency, you just oscillate your head, you can see through the... forget it. We're not talking about the same thing.
That brought you the Home Shopping Network.
Yes.
That brought you QVC.
QVC, of course. But I'd argue that was audience that you got through technology. It wasn't like you brought like efficiency. Like it was just a new audience that you otherwise couldn't get to, or at least that you had. Maybe you could get to it some other way.
It was a new way to sell. It was a new way to get into people's homes and sell them.
And they started with curation, right? They started by picking products
that
they thought their audience would want and selling it, but they grew into making a bunch of their own products or having manufacturers make products for their audience, which I think is pretty interesting. It's pretty cool that they had enough people there to do that.
My mom would buy from QVC. She bought tons of stuff from QVC when they first came on the air. Not for herself. She'd go, oh, Aunt Liz needs this.
Sure, of course.
And of course, the beautiful thing about QVC is you can have it shipped anywhere you like.
There. Yeah. That's super sweet. Okay, so that was what, mid-80s? QVC, Home Shopping Network?
86, somewhere around there.
Something like that? Yeah, okay. So then what? 10-ish years later, which is kind of amazing. I think it was only 10 years later, you got to push into online sales, right? As you get Amazon started in what, 95, 96, something like that.
That's another technological breakthrough that brought through another, and I'm not going to say the web because the web existed before that.
Sure.
But what made the difference for Amazon to suddenly exist for all those online retailers, Amazon was just one of a zillion. What made the difference for them was the cryptography, the security SSL. Of the website. So now you could send your credit card across the wire semi-securely.
Semi's doing a lot of work there, but okay.
Well,
I mean, fine.
At the time we thought it was secure. It was only later we found out, wow, this is not very secure at all.
Well, yeah, but if you didn't...
It's good now. TLS is way better.
Before Heartbleed was discovered. Yeah, exactly. But my point is, before Heartbleed was discovered, it was secure. Just post-Heartbleed, it wasn't. But you need, okay. That's a little revisionist, but I appreciate that. I also love, so, as we were talking on the episode earlier this week, we're looking at that July 2000 Computer Shopper. They had like a little call out in their list of all the different shopping sites you go to, all the different URLs, right?
Sure.
There was a little call. It was like, make sure the site you're using is secure. And then it said, and I swear to you, it said, if it's not a secure website, call them at their phone number and give them your card number.
Oh, yeah,
That was the alternate solution they recommended. And I'm like, oh, that is such terrible advice, especially today.
There were tons of websites that weren't secure.
Yeah.
I mean, the two things that helps websites become secure, you probably remember both of these things. Maybe you think of another one. The two that I can think of were, Google started prioritizing secure websites in search.
Yep. That was later, but yeah.
So if you weren't secure, you weren't going to go to the top of the list.
Yeah, sure.
The other thing that really changed things was Let's Encrypt.
Yeah.
Made it so that you could make a website secure for free.
Yeah. I mean, that just brought you more SSL, but those both came way later.
Yeah.
I mean, at this time, if you didn't have an SSL cert, you just couldn't do business. You as a consumer, you had to tell yourself not to. Most people didn't know this, right?
They had a lock icon.
The browser
in the browser.
That's all you got was a little lock icon. Yeah, it didn't really go to the extremes to protect you from that. But it's funny how the problem just moved, because then it was more like you're worried about somebody sniffing a thing and you know who they were, and identity. And it's like, well, now, and I'd argue this is part of the problem with something like Let's Encrypt, is you don't have the identity verification of what the endpoint is. So now anybody can have an SSL cert, which I think is net positive. Yeah. But you no longer know the identity of who you're giving your information to.
Dealing with, right.
Based on the cert. You just have to base it on something else. But, yeah. So what is this, like mid-90s? The Amazon up and comings and
95, yeah.
Yeah, something like that, like mid-late 90s. Yeah. But we didn't know then what the winner was going to be, right? Not like Amazon as a company, but Amazon as a concept, right? The business to consumer.
I think in the mid-90s, if you were to put money on it, the answer you would have given for the winner would have been eBay.
I think eBay would have been the answer, right? Now, eBay's still around today for sure, but it doesn't have the commerce dominance that Amazon has. Mm-mm. But then we didn't know. And eBay was, I'm thinking about eBay today, which as a quick aside, eBay has done an amazing job of making it as friction-free of an experience as possible for both the buy side and the sell side. They've really improved that product.
Did not
start out that way at all. I mean, I remember going and getting money orders for people. Like, you'd buy something, you'd go to like 7-Eleven or you'd go to the USPS and get a fucking money order, or because you don't want to send them a check. Like, there weren't many other options. Yeah. And I would also I'm very proud to say that my eBay account goes back to, I think, March of 99.
Wow.
So I've been an eBay user for like 26 plus years. Yeah. So I've sort of seen it in all its variations. And as a guy who likes to collect arcane technology, eBay is just a treasure trove of shit.
Oh, sure.
Right? I can find everything there.
It's the ultimate bazaar.
So eBay then was I don't even want to say primarily, I think it was entirely consumer to consumer, right? It was all individual to individual. There were no businesses on eBay.
The thing that made eBay such a user-friendly site was those reviews.
Yeah.
Is this a seller I can trust?
Yeah,
and the same thing the other way around. Is this a buyer I can trust?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you would start, when you were sort of the eBay noob, you were on this little island where people had to sort of trust you, and you might have to pay a little more for something, or if you're selling something, you wouldn't get a great price because nobody knew who you were. Yeah. Once you got that collection of reviews on yourself, and people were like, oh yeah, this person's legit. You built this
reputation.
You built this reputation. Yeah, it was pretty cool to see how that worked. But the point is, we didn't know as a large body of technologists or consumers if that was going to be the model or if Amazon was going to be the model. We really had no idea.
It wasn't Amazon. They were the booksellers, and there was pets.com, and there was, whatever. Every single object you could possibly want had its own type of website. Yeah.
And if you wanted to really bet on someone that was focused on logistics and supply chain, the one I remember the most was Michael Dell.
For sure.
Dell was really fixated on controlling the supply chain, and they still do to this day. To my knowledge, Dell still has a great control over the delivery, the building delivery of their machines. But man, not at the scale that you see at Amazon. Yeah. It's bananas to think about Amazon owning their own planes, the truck distribution system, how quickly they can get it to you, robots moving products around inside warehouses.
Even last mile delivery. How much the last mile delivery? It used to always be UPS.
Yeah.
Now it's like half the time, at least for me, it's Amazon trucks.
It's Amazon trucks, it's UPS, it's FedEx, it's drones apparently in some places. Not at my house yet, but maybe one day.
But you're hoping.
Yeah. But they've also done a bunch of really cool stuff, not all of which is going to stick. But they have I forget the name of the product. It will like allow them to unlock your door. I think it's called Amazon Key, actually.
Yeah,
they can unlock your door and put stuff inside.
My garage door has an option for that.
Yeah, and they do it for garages too. They'll even do it for cars. I think if you're in like densely populated areas, there are certain cars where they can pop the trunk and put all your stuff in your trunk and then close it.
That's wild.
Which is super cool. I mean, again, each one of these on itself just serves a small niche, but you take a bunch of them together and it becomes a pretty compelling bit of tech for delivery.
I don't have a big problem with security for delivery, but a lot of people do.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a great series of Mark Robar videos where he's talking about
the glitter
pirates.
bomb.
Yeah, the glitter bombs, right.
Yeah.
This is obviously a problem in a lot of parts of the world.
That thing's great. It was like wasn't it like a Apple HomePod? It was like some Apple speakers, like something he knew people would steal. Yeah. When you slide it out, it like sprays fart spray and throws glitter everywhere in your house.
Rid yourself of porch pirates.
Yes.
Okay, so the next advance then after Amazon, Shein and Temu.
Oh yeah, the next big one. I mean, there's been a lot of stuff. Like I'd argue Etsy was a good medium step along the way, right? Because they brought
Etsy's amazing because it's Amazon, but for things that Amazon will never sell.
Exactly.
It's the customized,
bespoke,
individual,
customized, artisan,
artisanal. Yeah. That's never going to work well on Amazon. But man, Etsy is such a great site for that stuff.
There is some absolute garbage on Etsy, but there is some great stuff. And anything from physical goods to digital goods, it is really such a great marketplace to get to folks that create things. I think that's super cool. Yeah. But so I'd say Etsy is like a small step, sort of enabled. It's a different variation of sort of similar tech. What else? Before you get to Shein and Temu, AliExpress AliExpress, I guess, to a certain extent, just because it's direct, small manufacturer to consumer, and they manage all the logistics, and they made the logistics cheap enough that you can put very inexpensive products on there.
I buy stuff sometimes on AliExpress. It's an order of a magnitude cheaper than the stuff that I can find on same brand name, same packaging, product, same exact product, and also AliExpress free shipping. I get so much free shipping from AliExpress.
Yeah, it's pretty bananas, and they're doing some interesting things on that, especially around tariffs. But that's a bit of a digression. So from a technology perspective, I would think probably the next big step would be Shein and Temu. I mean, even more so Shein, because Shein's focused on fashion primarily, and the fact that they will build, like, you think you're buying a dress that exists in a warehouse somewhere. You're like, oh, it's in China, they can ship it to me. And you're like, nope. They're actually going to make that dress. They're going to skip the warehouse and ship it right to you. My understanding is that they have manufacturing deals in their supply chain, their own supply chain they've built for as few as 100 pieces.
Right. If they get less than 100 orders for that dress, do they not manufacture it?
That's a great question. I don't know. I haven't read of anything like that. Doesn't mean it doesn't happen.
They have so much traffic, they probably never get less than 100 orders.
Tens of millions of active users a day.
Yeah.
I've seen stats where they're bringing on somewhere in the neighborhood of 5,000 to 6,000 products per day.
Wow.
Right? So the numbers are just amazing. And that is a function of, I think, of them building this marketing engine that is directly coupled to their product engine. And they've got the supply chain behind that to deliver. It's incredible.
Let me see if I can give a short description of what I think it is, how it works. Basically, if you had the data for what people were searching for on Amazon, that didn't ever result in an actual product. They don't have a thing like this.
Sure.
That's the data that Shein is using to make their clothing. You searched on this thing, it didn't exist here. Hey, you know what? We got custom creators here who can make fast orders.
I would augment that to say it doesn't necessarily have to not exist. You had to just not bought it.
Okay.
I think because it could be that it exists, but not at a price point or not at a delivery mechanism that you want.
Oh, true.
It's not just that it didn't exist, but for whatever reason, it didn't end up in your hands. And they said, oh, we think we can fill this gap. They also do a lot of, and I'm no Shein expert, but from the bit I've seen, they do a ton of price fluctuation. And I assume a lot of that is testing. You are the sort of guinea pig, and they're trying to figure out, would you buy it at this price?
Right.
Would you buy it at that price? Would you buy it here? And they can sort of circle in on what that price is. And then when it hits, I presume, I don't know this to be true, some metric or some amount of yield that they're okay with, then they fire off the orders, I would assume.
Wow.
But I also don't know that everybody's paying the same price. I suspect, let's just say on this hypothetical order of a couple hundred pieces, I bet you the price is variable across the order set. So the people that have ordered,
I'm sure.
You might have paid $3, I might have paid $6 for the exact same thing. It's really interesting.
Dynamic pricing for consumer goods, which is crazy.
But dynamic pricing for consumer goods before they exist, right? It's vaporware.
That's even crazier. Yeah.
That's what's even more nuts. But if you've got confidence that you can make the thing, then it's not really vapor, right? It's just really smart design. It's really smart. It's like having a giant 3D printer in China that can make whatever you want, and it just comes out.
But it's hundreds of manufacturers who can work in low volumes.
Yes, of course. But from my perspective as a consumer, it's just one giant magic printer that just spits stuff out, whatever I want, right? Whatever I demand from it. It's really cool.
Shein is 2008, and it's primarily clothing, primarily fashion.
That's my understanding. Yeah, I think most of their book of business is fashion.
So along comes Temu, 2022, who says, "What if we did this and it didn't just have to be fashion? It could be more
Temu
things."
seemed to go a little wider audience. I mean, this was done long before Temu as well. Wish did this. Wish tried to be like the like the mainstream AliExpress, if you will, for the US. I haven't ordered anything off Wish in a number of years. The general sort of consensus seems to be that most everything you buy on Wish is not what you thought it was. It's like when you go to Wendy's and you're trying to order the burger and you're like, oh, that looks great. And then it's like you get the thing and you're like, that does not look like what I ordered.
The picture does not resemble the actual
the
product.
Baconator, it's all crisp and bubbly. And then what you get is this thing that's like slid off to the side, like the Leaning Tower of burger. Yeah. I think it's more like that. So Temu seems to be somewhere in between those two, right? It's not as bad as the Wish.
The only reason I know that Wish is selling garbage is because they sponsored for years, and they may still, the Lakers.
What does that mean?
And for some reason, the
garbage?
Lakers,
I'm so confused.
No, it's not that they sponsor garbage. The Lakers are not garbage at all. They're a wonderful team. For some reason, Crypto.com and Wish, it's just whoever pays the most, regardless of the quality of the product.
Oh, interesting. So, but how does that get you to like they're selling garbage?
I just have so little faith in like Crypto.com. I have so little faith in Wish. If the Lakers have taken their money, it's not because it's a quality.
It's got to
good.
be a grift.
Yeah.
Understood. Okay. Let me translate that for the listeners at home. Yeah. if your name is on the side of what used to be called Staples, it's a grift.
Yeah.
Was Staples a grift? Staples was kind of like...
Staples was great.
Staples was fine. Yeah, all right. Yeah, anyway, so back to Temu. So yeah, Shein has been primarily focused on fashion, not just clothes. I think they do like bags and accessories, things like that as well. But Temu sort of put a wider aperture on that. It's clothing, but it's also like beauty products and home goods and electronics, stuff like that. I don't think it's everything.
It's as you order it, it goes to manufacture.
Yeah.
It's the same sort of thing.
I don't know what percentage of their stuff is this sort of just after manufacturing. I think it's less than Shein, but I do believe it's still some.
Okay.
Now remember, these guys came to exist like 3 years ago. I think in 2022, they ran some Super Bowl ads and we had never heard of them before, which is kind of nuts.
Sure.
I want to order things from Temu. I want to be a consumer. I have yet to. Every time I go there, they're like pushing me this app and I got this like JavaScript pop up. It's like a spinny wheel and there's something I got to do. And then they're like, oh, you won the biggest prize. I'm just like, oh, fuck, man. I just want to order the t-shirt. What are you doing?
Right.
Why is this so hard? And then I just remember that I'm a boomer and that's...
Because their audience might enjoy that for some reason. I mean, obviously they're selling a tremendous amount of merchandise. Somebody's getting through that wheel.
Oh, for sure. I think I'm the only one who's not. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's like the equivalent of an age gate when you go to like an alcohol site and like, are you over 21? They're doing the opposite. They're just like, oh, buddy, you're over 40.
Make sure you're young enough.
Yeah,
for this.
You don't get to buy into this stuff. It's like they don't want me wearing their stuff around. Like I'm waddling around the mall wearing some Temu shirt. They're like, no, that's bad for business. Nobody wants that. That's probably exactly what's going on.
All right, that's our look at the history of shopping and how things have changed. We got to get out of here, but quick before we do, have you seen or read anything good this last week, CJ?
Well, I know what I hadn't read or seen that's good.
Yeah.
Watching the Dodgers give up 16 runs with you on Saturday, that wasn't good. We could have skipped that step. I wish that would have been a day we could have just gone to Home Depot and shopped for tile together. That would have been way more fun.
That was rough. The Cubs, boy, they just came on full strength.
I mean, look, everybody gets a bad day. I think that's just what it was. But I literally texted my father in the first inning. I was like, Dodgers look good! ! And then it was just a slide into oblivion.
By the end of the game, you're texting your dad, new phone, who dis?
Yeah, exactly. As he's just laughing. He did say he turned it off at like around like 7-0.
Yeah, no, he was lucky.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he saved himself the pain. No, I did get to see something that was actually really fun, sporting wise. The Bahrain Formula One Grand Prix was this past weekend.
Oh, yeah.
I was a big Formula One fan. I've sort of been out of the loop for several years now since it jumped the shark. And once I saw Formula One shirts being sold at fucking Abercrombie and Finch, I was just like, I'm
Finch, as in a bird?
Finch,
Abercrombie
and Finch. Yeah, where do you go? Is it Fitch? I don't fucking know. That store. The store with the moose, whatever that one is, that's the one.
Yeah.
So I've been kind of slowly getting back into it a little bit this year. It was a really fun race. I don't want to give anything away. There were a decent amount of surprises, lots of stress for lots of drivers, which I think always makes for a good race.
Sure.
And if you like racing, I'd suggest watching the Bahrain Formula One Grand Prix from this past weekend.
Very cool.
How about you?
It's NBA playoff time when the Lakers are in the 3 seed, which is really fun. April 19th at 5:30 p.m. Pacific against the Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards, Rudy Gobert, and Mike Conley should be a lot of fun. NBA in the postseason, there's just nothing better.
I may have to actually watch some Lakers because it's either going to be that or the Kings because the Wings did not make the playoffs yet again this year. They tried, they got close, but there will be no Detroit hockey team playing in the playoffs this year. So
go Kings, go!
Yeah.
That is the episode.
Thank you for joining us for all this nonsense. A truly terrible podcast from The Awful Company. Visit us on the web at nonsense.productions. I'm Stu Little.
I'm Jeff Parker.
If you like this program, please follow, download, subscribe, and like it at Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, AntennaPod, iHeartRadio, Spotify, my favorite Overcast, wherever you may get your podcasts from.
Nonsense uses the VLC Media Player, a cross-platform media player and streaming media server developed by the Videoland Project. Free and open source. Be sure to check out VLC. Actually use Audacious.
What? I mean, it's fucking open source and it's great. Why you gotta be? And yet I'm the difficult one.
Sorry.
All right, we'll be here every Tuesday and Thursday morning for more nonsense. Please join us.
We'll see if I'll be here.
Then it's just me talking about closed source software. The one day you don't show up, I'm going to do a whole thing on proprietary. Y'all need to get Word, everybody. Word, Premiere Pro, Windows. Everybody should be using Windows. You know what open source has never done?
No.
It has never bought nor improved an NBA basketball team.
That's true. At least so far.
Oh my God.
LibreOffice Timberwolves.
The LibreOffice Timberwolves. Oh my God. Tickets are free like beer. You're like, wait, what?